All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to talk about segment 2 of the Colorado Trail. This is one of the tougher segments. It is deceptive because the elevation gain and decline is not particularly difficult, but that sun is just so brutal. I've done this segment twice already, and both times it has just been a behemoth to make it through. You can do it though, and you can do it easier than I did it if you follow just a couple of simple tips. So stick around, let's get to it. What's going on, everybody? This is Snackbox checking in here from beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I found this really nice little nature trail, brand new to me, so I'm very excited about it. It's a little bit chilly, so I'm going to try to keep this relatively short. This is part of the series discussing each segment, the Colorado Trail. If you've been watching along, you know we are going to talk about segment 2. Segment 2 is a beast. Now, segment 2 is a little bit deceptive because it is only 11 and a half miles and only roughly about 2,500 feet in elevation gain and about 800 feet in descent. That's not usually a recipe for a very tough day, but this is a section of the trail that was burned during a forest fire some couple decades ago. This is a segment where there's almost zero cover. What makes this even more complicated is you start immediately with a pretty significant climb. As you start that climb, you are heading right into the belly of the beast, as it were. So if you are starting your hike and you are thinking about this, you remember back to my first video on the Colorado Trail, you'll remember that one of my recommendations was to stay at South Platte River, right there at the end of segment 1, start of segment 2. This is a great spot to set up, even if it takes you 2 days to get through segment 1, which is significantly longer, even though the elevation change is a little more gradual when you go through Waterton Canyon. When you get into this segment, I will say this 1,000 times over, you need to start early. Start early. Start early. That's only 3 times. I could say it 1,000 more and it would be just as true 1,000 times in. The whole idea here is that when you are hiking, you want to be through that 11 and a half miles or as deep into those 11 and a half miles by about 11 o'clock as humanly possible. Because once the sun gets right over your head and starts pounding down, you are going to lose your hydration really quickly. You are going to start feeling that weight of your pack even more. Your feet are going to get sore. If you're starting on some blisters, you need to pay particular attention to those as well, because segment 2 is a great spot for those blisters to really start to flare up, especially if you are wearing waterproof shoes or something with Gore-Tex. Little side note, I recommend not having waterproof shoes for this very reason. So with a waterproof shoe, the water can't get in, but it also can't get out. So I like a good trail hiker, something like that, and this is a great segment to see where that plays out. Now let's get into some of the better tips. So the first one is just start early, and when I mean early, I mean at South Platte River, you want to be packing up your bag and on the trail no later than 6 a.m. I know that's a bummer for a lot of people, especially if you're not a morning person, and especially if you took 1 day getting through segment 1. That can be a real beast because you're going to be tired and you're going to be sore, but I can promise you, you will be in much better shape if you start early and get hiking really quickly. So you need to start early, but not just start early. You need to carry a good amount of water. In segment 1, you start out and finish with a lot of water. There's water everywhere. Segment 2 is almost the exact opposite. You start at water, it's about 10 full miles until you see water again. So what you want to do is what hikers like to call cameling up. That means you're going to put more water in your pack than you need. My next tip is to carry a sun umbrella. This is not something I've done in the past, but I've seen it make a huge difference for my friends. And you can buy some really inexpensive ones online, or you can buy some higher end ultralight ones online. My personal recommendation is to buy one that's inexpensive to see if it works and if it's worth forking over the coin to buy a nicer one. But as you'll see from this video, Simon here really made a difference when he was having a rough go with the sun during this segment. And then lastly, my recommendation is you want to make sure that you bring in some electrolytes, something with electrolyte. This is sort of a fancy word. I'm not a doctor. Well, I'm a doctor, but not that kind of doctor. Sort of a fancy word for salt. It's something to help your body take in that water and hold on to that water. Think about maybe a pouch of Gatorade. Think about maybe one of those the Cliff blocks, the chewy gummy blocks. Those can be really good and full of electrolytes, something with salt. So be looking for electrolytes on the tab. rehab. They have little tablets you can dissolve in water. Anything like that is going to make a huge difference when you get out in that sun and you're exposed, because all those trees were burned down so many years ago. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you'll stick around as we start talking about segment 3. I hope you'll stick around. Coming up next week, we're going to talk about dealing with mountain bikes and mountain bikers. It can be a little bit tricky in segment 3, especially if you're making your way through on a weekend. Hope that you'll click that like button, subscribe to this series. It'd really help me out as we start working to build this channel. And I hope that all of the information you found here is informative. Also hope if you have questions about the Colorado Trail, leave those down below. I'd love to answer them for you, whatever it may be. There's no such thing as a stupid question, just stupid people asking questions. Or you know what? Share with me your favorite stupid question somebody's asked you on a hiking trail before. For example, Ranger in Yosemite told me that someone asked him where to go to pet the bears and when they turn on and off the waterfalls. I think those count as stupid questions. I'm sure your questions are smarter than that though, so post those below. I'd love to answer them for you.